we all want to do something that matters. No one wants to do something that makes no sense. But for me, there is a problem in this sentence. Because when we talk about purpose or doing something that have a positive impact on the society, wanting is not enough. We need doer. We need people who can take concrete actions to bring a change. And if I take a simple example, when you want to work out to be in a better shape, and talking about it will not bring any result on your shape. The problem is that we find all the possible excuses for not doing it. I'm too tired. I don't have the time. It's too complicated. And the terrible, I will do it later. You will not do it later if you don't do it right now. Fortunately, I find something in my company to get rid of all these excuses and make a difference in the society. Let me explain you how it started. Back in 1992, this year, I was 12. Obviously, I was not in a company. But this year, I was diagnosed with cancer. And the year after, they have to cut my leg. And it was what you think. I see your face a little bit. No one smile anymore. But you think that this is terrible. But in fact, for me, it's the opposite. It's maybe the best thing that ever happened in my life. Because I understand at this moment that the chance that I have to be alive, thanks to this event. I remember when the doctor came to my hospital bedroom to tell me that I have cancer. And I was afraid. I was afraid by the word cancer, afraid to suffer, afraid by the treatment, afraid to lose my hairs. But quickly, I stopped to focus on myself. And I started to look around to my parents, and more especially my mother. And I think at this moment, she was even more afraid than me. And I felt guilty because I made my mother sad. And if it was my fault, I have to change it. And to do that, I started to look at all the positive things around me in my hospital bedroom and tell it to my mother to make her smile. And I learned two things in this process. The first thing is that whatever the situation, you can always find something positive in your life. It's really important, this thing. And the second thing is that by focusing on something bigger than me, making my mother smile, it releases me completely from the stress of the situation. And I can tell you that each time I saw my mother smile, I was happy. 1 year after, when I get out of the hospital and the rehabilitation center, I was so happy. And at the same time, it was terrible. Because I discovered at the age of 13 the impact of the norm and what it is to be different. And when your confidence is not completely built and you have only people that feel sorry for you, it's terrible. I was ashamed, and I didn't know if I had to hide my prosthesis at this moment. And I developed the fear of being rejected because of my prosthesis. It took me years to get out of this fear, and during these years, I grew up faster, and I learned a lot of things, and I learned that the difference, in fact, is a chance. It's a chance because you can think differently. And I repeated this sentence all the time. What doesn't kill me makes me stronger. what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. And it became true for me. And I learned that, in fact, behind suffering, there is a meaning. And behind all the things that we consider as bad in our life, there is a lesson hidden. And I learned my lesson, and now I feel absolutely great about my prosthesis. But 3 years ago, I met a woman who was suffering because of the way people look at her prosthesis. And at this moment, it was a signal. I felt like a call that I have to do something to show that, in fact, behind disability, there is not only negative things, there are also positive ones. I wanted to show that we can transform adversity into an opportunity. And to do that, I know exactly what I have to do. I have to change the way my prosthesis look like. I don't know if you've already seen a prosthesis, but it looked like that. It's cold, it's impersonal, it's far from being exciting to wear that. And to tell you the truth, I discovered the aesthetic for prosthesis, a way to transform a prosthesis cold like that into something personalized, something cool, something fashionable, something you will be proud to wear. And I discovered in a TEDx, this guy, Scott Summit, talked about aesthetic for prosthesis. And he explained how we build aesthetic thanks to a 3D printer. I was so excited. I wanted to have one. It's incredible what he do. And I was a little bit sad when I saw that it's not affordable at all. It's really expensive. And at this moment, I asked myself, why not making it by myself and making it affordable for everyone? Yes, it sounds like a plan, but the problem is I didn't know anything about 3D printer, 3D modeling, nothing. And I did the simplest thing that you can ever imagine because I was so motivated, so enthusiastic about this project. Something that we can all do, something that sometimes we are afraid to do it, or we forget to do it. I simply ask for help. And if you're afraid to ask for help, remember one thing. You have nothing to lose. Because the worst thing that can happen when you ask for help is that the person refuses to help you. And if you don't ask, this person could not help you. So remember that. So I was so motivated, I wanted to succeed because I think it was meaningful that I start to ask to everyone for help about this project. And really quickly, I find one person, and then another one. And I gain confidence, and I say, oh, wow, why not asking to my company to help me? I work in Airbus, we can build big aircraft, and I was sure I could find the competences to make an aesthetic for prosthesis. It's what I did. And by searching for help, I discovered this place called ProtoSpace. We are really lucky in Airbus to have this space. It's a space dedicated to innovation and prototyping. It was exactly what I needed for my project. And I asked for help to the leader of the space, and he helped me. We built a team of volunteers. We work on our personal time, at the lunchtime, in the evening, sometime late at night. And in 6 months, we did that. And clearly, you can see you can see that I don't want to hide my prosthesis. And I think I have the coolest leg in the world. I'm so happy about that. And now, imagine that this thing can be affordable for everyone. Today we are working on a software in order to give some parameter to give the shape of the leg, and you can get the 3D model from this software. And by doing it, if you do that, it will cost only 10 euros to make a leg like this. Imagine the difference we can do in the life of children that lack of confidence with their prosthesis. You know, I didn't expect anything from this project. But I have to tell you that if I had asked for something, I would have never asked for all the things that I got thanks to that. It completely changed my life. Well, despite the fact that I'm the coolest man in the world with a prosthesis, I changed my position in Airbus and I become the new leader of the ProtoSpace that you see just before. It made a huge difference in my life. I met a lot of people all around the world with the same passion for the purpose. And I also discovered how powerful it is to work on projects without expecting anything in return. And another thing I didn't expect it at all is that there's people who helped me during the project. In fact, they came to me at the end to thank me because they were proud, they were happy to contribute to something meaningful with a human aspect and by using their competences. And at this moment, I understood something, and I didn't want to stop there. If people want to work on this kind of project, I can find a lot more. And that's why 1 year ago, I started an initiative called Humanity Lab in Airbus, and now it is supported by the top management of Airbus. And the idea is it's really simple, is to connect the people who know what is the problem and what impact we will have if we solve this problem. But the problem, they don't know how to solve it technically. And on the other side, you have the people who solve problems every day in their work, but they don't know what are the problems. The idea of the Humanity Lab is just to connect these two groups and to find together the best solution. And we did that in the way that is the easiest as possible, to become a volunteer. So we get rid of all the excuses. We know exactly what we have to do, we know the competence that we need, and it's easy to become a volunteer right now. And you know, I work in the ProtoSpace. It's an amazing place. We have everything, like the tools, the method, and the skilled people to make almost anything with the innovation of Airbus. Why not using it to make innovation out of the business with a meaning? And for me, it's a question of responsibility. If we can do something, we have to do it. And we can do a lot. Let me give you some numbers around the Humanity Lab. So we started last year in September. Now there is 4 ProtoSpace all around the world that support the initiative. We have more than 90 volunteers. It represents thousands of hours of volunteering on personal time. And they work on 12 projects in areas such as disability, health, humanitarian, education, and environment. Let me give you some example of project. I love this one because it was really simple. We just transformed a regular training into something meaningful for this young girl named Lou, who was born without a forearm. And it took only 9 sessions to teach the trainees how to use a 3D printer and to make this arm for this little girl. based on the 3D model given by the charity Enable. And I can tell you that no one missed a single session of this training because there were purpose. And I can tell you that when you see the smile of this little girl, it's a reward that you cannot imagine. This is the goal of the Humanity Lab also, is to develop the competencies and at the same time to foster engagement in the company. We have a lot of other projects. We work with adaptation for disabled people in order that they access to sport. We did a rowing prosthetic leg. We did also a wheelchair for badminton. We built a telepresence robot for children stuck in the hospital in order that they go outside through the robot. We are working on an exoskeleton to help children with cerebral palsy to allow them to walk. We built also baby's weight scale to fight malnutrition, and a lot of other projects like this. But more than the project, I want to talk about the volunteer. And Jose is one of them. Jose, before to come to the Humanity Lab and Airbus, he was volunteer for an NGO called Winded for 1 month last year. And the goal of this NGO is to give access to clean and sustainable energy from the wind to people who live in isolated village in Peru. And here, in this case, the Humanity Lab was just an enabler. It just gave the permission to Jose to ask for help. And in this project, one of the things that we have to improve was the manufacturing of the blade of the wind turbine. Jose simply asked to the expert in Airbus for the manufacturing of the helicopter blade. This is what we have to offer. Our passion, our competence, our knowledge, and the means to realize concrete things. And in return, we are not paid with money. We are paid with emotion. This is the new culture that we need to develop in our companies. And the goal of the Humanity Lab is just to empower all the Jose in the company to make a difference. You know, my cancer and my amputation haven't disabled me. They make me more alive, and they prepare me to see challenges not as something negative, but as an opportunity. And you don't have to wait to have a cancer to change your life. You just have to change your priority and make the purpose your top priority. It's simple. You take something that you want to change and you focus on it. It don't have to be a big thing. I start by making my mother smile. You take this thing and you focus a little bit of your time every day or every week to find a solution. You ask for help. You inspire people around you. You stand for something bigger than you and you make it happen. You will not regret it. Thank you.
Right? Right? Come out here. Come out here. This is your moment. Right?